So here is our glorious homepage to my.SV2. So there are a few things I just want to point out related to the homepage. Elizabeth has done a ton of heavy lifting in architecting this community, and we've really worked hard to keep it streamlined. There's so much that we could show you all at once, but we want to try not to inundate you. We want to try to keep things really organized. So I just want to draw your attention to some of the main things that you'll see when you first log into my.SV2, and then we'll kind of dive into some of the different functionality. So you'll see that there are kind of four main areas on the top right in the green boxes. You have communities, calendar, member search, and my profile. And we'll go into each of these areas in more detail. But those are some of the main areas that drive a lot of the activities that you'll take on my.SV2. In the middle, you'll see kind of an aggregated calendar of all the different SV2 events that are coming up that are related to all the different grant rounds. There could be social events, grantee events. So if you're curious to know what's going on in SV2, this is a good place to come and see a good snapshot over the next couple of months of things that are coming up. And then recent stories, you'll start to see a content that we'll be updating from our e-news. We'll also be updating content from our grantees. We've been doing a lot of work actually building the platform and the tool so far, so these are not as updated as they will be over the next couple of weeks. But this is your landing page, this is your home page, and this will, you'll come here every time you log into my.SV2, and then from here you'll navigate to a bunch of different places. So let's start first with taking a look at kind of a community. And a lot of the ways that information has been organized on my.SV2 is really related to an interest area community, or if you think about a grant round community. So for the purposes of a lot of the different parts of the training today, we're going to pretend that we're a part of the education grant round to go through some of the different functionality. So if you want to find the education grant round community or any of the other interest area communities, you'll click on communities. And then you'll come to kind of a few different buckets or pieces or ways that communities are organized. You have your interest area communities, which are kind of our rotating grant round and investment rounds. We have grantee communities and support, and this is kind of phase 2 of what we're building for this tool. These haven't been built out yet. And then you'll have other communities, and these are some of our leadership opportunities, kind of ways that we can help leaders who are working on different projects or our board of directors kind of work together and organize our information in one place. So if we want to really get a sense of what's going on, we're pretending that we're participants in the education grant round community. So we're going to click on education. And here you'll see kind of a landing page for the education grant round community. And this looks pretty similar for every other community that you might be interested in. So, if you're interested in international that will be starting in a few weeks, that community will look very similar to this one. And I just want to orient you to the different pieces and parts, and we'll spend more time in a few different places. So on the top left, you'll see grant round emails. This is where currently, if you're participating in a grant or investment round, you generally receive emails by Google Group or through a Google Group, and we'll be making this transition starting in January, where you'll start to receive these communications that will come directly from this community in my.SV2, and those will all be archived on the top left, and you'll kind of see a list of those as they start to go out. Then the next, you'll look at the calendar, and these are education community specific events. So if you're curious to keep abreast of all the education grant round meetings that are coming up, those will all be listed here. If you're wanting to get involved in some discussions or get a sense of what events are coming up related to education or resources that you could or should read, and we'll spend some more time in here, you can look at the discussion board. And then one of the things I'm most excited about is that every community has an education or has a file library where we'll be really organizing files and archiving files in a way that makes them really easy for grant or impact investment round participants to easily have access and download them. So maybe what we'll do is first go into the discussion board and kind of explain some of that functionality. So if you click on discussion board, you might be wondering, like, why on earth might I spend time looking in the discussion board? But and that's a good question. But we receive, I think, a number of if you think about the education grant round leaders or even staff members or Jen, I think a number of us are always approached by different partners and other thought leaders in the community, and they're always looking to share events that would be of great interest to our partnership. And especially, I'd say this comes a lot from partners. Like they're the member of a board of a certain organization, and they're super excited about an event that might be happening, or someone who might be a thought leader and is going to be holding information, or I'd say maybe a working session on something of particular interest to the education grant round community. And it's just clunky and cumbersome of how you share that information with other folks who are interested in the same issue area. So we've kind of created a discussion board to help facilitate those conversations and to help partners share that information with one another directly. So I think the best place to kind of start is that, what you want to do after, or, you can start one today, but what you want to do after this training is to take a moment to subscribe to each of the issue area communities that are of interest to you. And what that will do is when there are things that are being posted that would be interesting, like external events of interest or external resources of interest, then you'll hear about them. It will basically push these posts that other partners will make to your email. Now, before you think to yourselves, wow, that sounds really overwhelming, and I don't want an email every time someone's posting something to a discussion board. Let's see, hold on a second. I think, let me back up one. Let's go back in. Let's see. I seem to be missing my subscribe. Let me come. I think that is why. Okay, so I can't see. I think I'm missing an envelope here that you should see on your tools that should say subscribe, and you should have the opportunity to click the envelope, and it will give you. Maybe I'm going to have Carrie try it right quick. It's taking a second. Okay. So maybe what I'll do, we'll kind of come back to this, but essentially the functionality is that you should be able to subscribe to the overall discussion board for each community, and there's a way to set the settings, and I think maybe what I'll do is go into a different one to show you how that works. So if I back up and I go into let's see, the impact investing community, and I go into discussion board. There it is. Okay. And you'll see this envelope under the tools. It says subscribe to topic. And so what you want to do, like say I'm an impact investing theme and I'm super excited about this pilot round, and I want to make sure that when things are, when there are things of interest, whether they're events or resources, I want to know about them. I'm going to subscribe to discussions related to impact investing. Now, I don't want to get an immediate email. I might choose to get a summary digest. And if you click, each time you click on one of these, you'll see a little message below that will tell you the frequency at which you'll receive emails related to these discussions. So I might like to have just a summary digest once a day that will give me links, or if I see something that's interesting, if I see an article that's interesting, it'll kind of drive me back to SV2 to learn or view or see what events are coming up. So I think I've decided for impact investing, I want to subscribe to a summary digest, and I'm going to add that. So I would encourage you, when you have a moment, to go through and do that for the different communities that are of interest to you, whether you're participating in the grant round or the impact investment round or not, to just spend the time to go ahead and do that so that you can learn more about resources or events that are happening that you might be interested in attending. So I'm going to go back to the education discussion board and just explain a couple of other things. So the one thing I want to draw your attention to is you'll see two pinned articles at the top. And the way that we anticipate that most people will want to use this discussion board is to share resources and events. But instead of each person adding your own thread, which I'll show you in a moment, what we'd really like for you to do if you have an event to share or a resource to share, to really click inside one of these pinned links and then use this reply button. This will basically aggregate all of the events that are interesting related to education in kind of one thread to try to keep them more organized. So you would just write in the subject line of whatever event you want to share, just like an email. You write in the text of what you want to share. If there are any attachments for the event, then you attach them here, and then you would choose your household name from this list. And then you choose your name. Many households have kind of two partners, so that's why there are two different steps. And then I would leave this unchecked. Do not send email to subscribers, because that's part of the event. The whole purpose of this whole tool is for sharing. So I would just go ahead and you would normally say post your reply, but since I haven't written anything, I'm going to cancel that. So we would encourage most folks we anticipate will be using this discussion board to share events and resources. So I, for the most part, say respond to one of these two posts. If you want to add your own separate thread that's unrelated to events or resources, then the process looks very similar for doing completely separate posts, where you write a subject, you fill in your message, and choose your household, your name. And then I would not lock a thread, which means that it goes to the very top, and I would not check this box that says do not send email. And then you would say post thread, but I'm going to say cancel. Okay, so I think we spent a good amount of time in the education discussion board, so we are going to keep on moving, and I just want to make sure it doesn't look like we have any hands raised. And just a reminder, if you have a question, you're on the phone, to press *6 as a way to unmute yourself. And then you can answer your question. And if you're on the computer and you're using your computer microphone, then you would raise your hand by going up to the top and clicking interact and raise hand. Okay. Back and see what we're going to go through next. I think, let's see, sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. I think the next thing we'll go through is RSVPing. Oh joy, so exciting. So let's go, we're just going to back out. Well, what you can do is just practice navigating back to the education community. So you can, this nav at the top is fixed. It should always appear no matter what page you're on. So if you want to kind of go back and you don't want to click back 15,000 times, you can just click communities and then find yourself back to the landing page for education. So we talked a little bit about the calendar. What we want to do is I'm going to RSVP. So you'll see when you click into the calendar, and I did that, if I'm going too quickly, I clicked on education calendar at the top, and it pulls a calendar specifically focused on education, mostly grant round meetings, and you can advance, it's intuitive in this way, to your next month. So let's say that I want to RSVP for the upcoming education grant round meeting on January 12th. So what you would do when you see this, and I might choose the 26th because I think I've already RSVP'd for this one and I want to show you the whole process. You just click into this, just so everyone's with me. You'll just, where did that go? Did I change months? Sorry about that. Yes, I did. Okay, so when you click into an event, it should bring you to this landing page for RSVPing. At the top, you'll see the type of event. You'll see the date to make sure that you're in the right place. And if you want to register, you simply say register for this event. You click into this link, and you're going to choose partner. Then you're going to click OK. You can all kind of do this along with me. It's okay if you don't plan on coming. I know who's joined on the webinar today, so we can scrub the list after we're finished. It's going to ask you to just verify your name, whether or not you want to be shown on the attendee list. Please check this box. And to let us know, because we do order food for most of our meetings, to let us know if you have any dietary restrictions that we can keep in mind. Then you're going to click Next, and it's going to send you to a confirmation screen. This will let you know that you've successfully RSVP'd. An email should shortly arrive in your inbox that'll let you know, that you've RSVP'd for a certain event, and we'll give you a link to download the event to your calendar should you so choose. And one of the exciting things about this, if I can just back up a little bit, let's see, I'm just going to go back to my communities and my education and go back to my calendar. Sometimes people can't remember what they've RSVP'd for. And the exciting thing about it is if you were to click back into that event, then you'll see, oh, look, you're already registered. Great. So you don't have to worry about registering again. And you'll go through the same process if you want to bring a guest with you who's a prospective partner, then you would click register someone else. And the process is very similar to what you would go through if you were registering for yourself. One thing to note that you might see over the next few months that might be confusing is that there's some functionality that we're working on rolling out that will enable folks who are not a part of the my.SV2 platform. So if you think about prospective partners, if you think about sometimes there are strategic allies that we invite to different deep dives or springboard session workshops who don't have access to my.SV2. So we're working on building a way for them to RSVP for events using our my.SV2 system, but we haven't done that phase of this work yet. So what you'll see us doing, and it may be confusing when you receive the e-newses in January and maybe even in February, that it will appear that you can either register using my.SV2 if you were to come into the platform, or if you're seeing an event on the e-news that you can register as you usually do through Eventbrite. And this isn't a mistake. It's just that we really have to mirror these two systems for a period of time until we can finish building out the functionality that lets people, whether they're a part of my.SV2, a part of this community or not, that you can RSVP for events. So expect that to take a few more months, but we want to get people to start using it. So feel free to register using my.SV2. We prefer that, but also know that you still have the ability to use Eventbrite if you follow links from the e-news. Okay, and I'm just going to check to make sure they're in. Oh, Bob has a question. Okay, sorry, Bob, just a moment. Let me click on your hand. Now, do I promote presenter? Okay. Bob, I promoted you to presenter. Hopefully you should be able to speak. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you perfectly. What's on your mind?
So I've been trying to follow along, watching this on my laptop, but trying to follow some of these moves on my iPad. And when I got to community, it responded, you have requested information you're not authorized to view.
Do you have a different email address I'm wondering why this might be.
Shouldn't be.
And so you're following on a laptop and on your...
I tried to go to education and it won't let me in. Anyway, we can follow this up later. I don't mean to hold up the call.
Yeah, no, but that's really helpful. So what I'd say, I'm going to follow up with you afterwards. I'll maybe just give you a call right after the webinar is over and just get a few more specifics so that I can talk to our team at Socius, who's helped us build the tool, and just get a better understanding of what might be going on there. But I appreciate your bringing it up, and I'm glad that you have something else to follow along with.
And as an aside, I could get into the big lift section, so it just seems education specific.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good news too. I think it might be there, but it's not very well built out. But thank you for that feedback too. Okay. Great. All right, if you don't mind, I'm just going to mute you again, Bob. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're going to keep moving. Let's see, what are we going to cover next? File storage. Oh, how exciting. Okay, so the next thing we'll do, I'm just take us back to communities and education, and we're going to look at kind of how to access files. So at the very bottom of this page, you'll see this like small little link that says View All Files. So if you click here, hold on, it's not. Okay, now it's letting me click. If you click View All Files, you'll get to an area that has the following architecture that we'll walk through. And every community has a file library that's structured with exactly the same file folders to try to make this as easy to use, no matter what community you've been a part of. Once you know how to use one, you know how to use the file libraries for all of them. So I'm just going to run through what each one of them means so that you have a sense if you're looking for files in the future, and also start with the disclaimer that we're going to start moving files, I'd say, over the next week and a half or so. So this section isn't as populated as we would have liked it to have been by the time of this call, but bear with us. We'll be populating and moving a lot of information from the Google groups and from emails that you've received if you're a part of the Education Grant Round. So you'll see this start to become much more populated. But just to give you an orientation of what these look like in each community, so current round applications and diligence, there's nothing in here now, but what this will look like in short order is you'll be able to kind of click in and you'll see subfolders for each of the, I'd say maybe we're down to, I can't remember whether we decided 5 or 6 for the Education Grant Round, maybe it's 4, can't remember, but you'll have the top list of 8 or so organizations that we've done significant diligence on for the current round. And so you'll have a subfolder for each organization, and then their LOIs, their application materials, if we've recorded if they've come in to meet with us and we've done podcasts. So all of that information will be organized nicely into this first folder. The second folder is pretty self-explanatory. You'll be able to, if you miss a meeting or you wanted to refresh your memory of what was discussed during a meeting, Andy, our fellow, takes ridiculously good notes. She writes down like almost every word. So you'll feel like you're there. We can recreate the experience. And you can find the notes, which she's uploaded, the notes from this past Tuesday's meeting. And since we're in here, so we just double-clicked on that current round meeting notes folder. If you wanted to download this file, you would click on this arrow that's atop this document. Well, I guess that's a document. I don't know what that is. And you can either view the file, and this is the simplest way, really, to kind of look through the notes if you just want to refresh your memory quickly. But if you're excited to make this this file a part of your file repository in the NAS of your computer, you can also download it. So you'll click download, and then it should download at the bottom of your web browser, and then you can open it up and save it if you so choose. So very excited about that. This will start to look much more robust soon. The third folder, current round background research. So this will be related to the current focus area of a particular round. So I believe the Education Grant Round this year is focused on out of school learning. So if they're, what we'll be uploading here will be document studies and other things related to that specific focus area within this interest area. Landscape analysis will be more broad and kind of overall education focused. So different resources, articles that we've collected over the last, and this one actually does have a number of files in it if you wanted to poke around. And we'll probably look to add some subfolders here as well to try to keep that organized, because I can imagine that it's going to get kind of crazy in there. So we're going to keep that organized. And then archive grant rounds. This is exciting. If you click in here, you can look at all the archived files for the last several years. You basically will click on this link that can take you to Box, and you can see nice, tidy folders of so many different things from our past grant rounds. So much information at your fingertips. I bet everyone's so excited and just jumping up and down. I am jumping up and down. And if not, like maybe we can all just pretend that we're jumping up and down. Okay, so the one thing to note about the file library is that in the beginning, we're really going to be asking our grant round leaders and our impact investment round leaders to do the file uploading. We want to try to get a convention and make sure that files get placed in the right place. So if you have a file that you want to share and you're working on, a project, a SV2 project, you'd either, send that to whoever's leading the project, which would probably be a grant round leader, or it could possibly be a staff member, depending on what type of project it is, but most likely it's a partner leader. So that's exciting. Then we would get all of these things uploaded here, and then it should be a place where if you're looking for things that have been referenced during emails, you can either check the email section here, or we'll be placing documents also in the education file library. So super, super excited. Let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to tell you about that I may have missed. Just give me a second. No? Okay. All right. We're moving along. Let me make sure there aren't any questions. Let me see here. Are there any hands raised? Nope. Okay. Moving along. What a lovely group. Thanks everyone for being patient. Okay. So I'm really most excited about this functionality. So the next thing we're going to look at is our member directory. So at the very top of your screen, you should see in the nav member search. If you click on member search, you'll see a number of different fields. And you might be thinking, why might I use this? And honestly, when we think about all the different things that we hear from partners, one of the things that we felt like we were most missing was the ability to search for partners and kind of self-organize or find folks, if you have different, well, let me just give you a few different examples and then it'll make it more clear. Say you met someone at the holiday party and you couldn't remember her name and her last name, you don't know how to contact her. Normally you'd have to email a staff member or email another partner and ask, but all you really have to do, let's say I met Kelly Pope. So I wrote, there's only one Kelly, but this pulls the one Kelly up, and you'll click on her name, and then it'll pull up this kind of screen. And if you click on her name again, you'll get Kelly's profile. And wow, look at that. You've got her phone number, you've got her email address, and you have all the things that she's interested in. So you can follow up and have coffee with Kelly, and you guys can talk about education, and it'll be super fun. So how else might you use this? Let's say you are really into economic opportunity, and you want to connect with others who are interested in whether it's innovative workforce programs or other retraining programs, and you just want to know who else, if we're not doing anything related to that issue area in a given year, who else is interested in that type of stuff. Then you would come down to what are some of your key interest areas with respect to social impact and press search. And then you have a whole list of people. Look at that, it's like magic, of a bunch of people who are interested in that. And you can find, in the similar way that we went through Kelly, you can find out their email or their phone numbers and call them up. One thing to mention is some of you might have felt nervous to see email and phone numbers. And you might be thinking, whoa, can the grantees see this? And I just want to make it clear that when the grantee part of the communities get built out, that will not be visible to them. So they won't be able to find out your personal information unless you specifically give it to them. They won't be able to find it out through the platform. Okay, so so that's super exciting. And another kind of way that you might use this that would be interesting is, say you're a lead partner for a given one of our grantees, and you want to find the others, some partners within our partnership who have marketing and communications experience, for example. Then you would come down here to in which organizational development areas are you, oh no, I'm sorry, I should be looking at skills. Yes, sorry, ignore me. Let me just come back up here. It's really this section. You would come to marketing and communications, where it says what skills or experience would you like to offer to grantees beyond the dollars? And you would click here and you would find a list of folks that you'd see. See, we have Lucy, who I think is on the phone, and I haven't been able to hear your voice, but if you're there, hello, marketing and communications experience. So That then brings us to one of the most important things. So how do we populate all this information? And that is the last thing that we're going to go over today, which is related to profiles. So the way, if everyone can kind of come back up to the nav and look at my profile, click on my profile. Oh, there I am. And you come over to edit. Then you'll see this great profile. Don't be intimidated. It's very well organized and some of the information is populated already. But I'm just going to walk through some of the big kind of pieces of this. And the reason why this is so important is that, so what I just went through the member search, and member search only really works well if the partners, if each of the partners who's logged into the platform, who's a part of the partnerships, takes the time to fill out that information. And I think it really doesn't take very long. I've spent maybe 10 minutes updating information, and I think you could take as long as you probably wanted to take to fill it out. But I'll take you through the most, each section, and then would ask that you spend a little bit of time later today updating your profile, and hopefully even the remaining minutes, if we finish a little bit early, then you can use some of that time to complete your profile. But if you kind of look at the top, this is, oops, let me delete that. So this is information, this is all contact information. So there are 3 different types of emails, which can get a bit confusing. What I would say is that you should if you feel that the email you see is not the email that you want to be emailed at, then you should update this information in the private email section. And then, as one thing I'll mention, before you start spending a lot of time here, do not navigate away from this page. It's a long page, and you need to press OK before you enter in anything and leave this page. So just keep that in mind. Don't click away. So the rest of the stuff is pretty self-explanatory. If there's something that seems kind of confusing, like designation, there are a few question marks that have extra information. So it looks like these are professional certifications or designations. Then you kind of fill out home address, home phone, and this is telling you the proper format to do so. Resist temptation to fill it out now. Just follow along with me so that we don't lose anybody. Then engagement. I don't know why this says no. Since I work on the e-news, I would ask that everyone have, yes, subscribe me to the e-news, because it takes a number of folks a lot of time to put that together, and it's the main way that we communicate what's coming up. And we try, we only do it so often, we try to make the content good and interesting. So make sure that's checked to yes. I think it was checked to no since I'm a staff member, but I'm not sure. And understand that by choosing no, it means that you will be not receiving information about SV2 meetings and events, and that sounds big and scary. Okay, so then we'd ask, this is helpful for us to know, how do you hear about SV2? What do you hope to gain from participating? And kind of go through and fill this out, and you'll see a note here that if you want to select more than one option on any of these, that you'll simply hold down Control on a PC or Command as you choose multiple options. Let me just make sure we don't have any questions, that I haven't lost anybody. Nope. Okay, everyone's with me. It talks a little bit about how you might like to participate in Beyond the Dollar support, and I know that this part is really important as we start to think about how we overhaul and ramp up our Beyond the Dollars efforts in 2016. Then we'll move to experience. Then, this is pretty self-explanatory, kind of fill in. We'd say you might not want to do tons of your experience, but at least fill in the latest 1 or 2 opportunities, or latest 1 or 2 roles. Fill in graduate schools if it's relevant. And then a bio. Sometimes it's helpful to include a biography for new partners who might be looking and trying to understand, like, oh, who's a part of this community? It helps to have, if you have one written already, and if not, just writing a couple sentences to say who you are and what you're all about. You could even use, if you've joined more recently, the bio that you've given us for the e-news. And a user signature. This is really optional, and you shouldn't need to fill this out But if you were to be sending emails out from my.SV2, which this would really only apply to partner leaders, you know, like the grant run leaders. So this is, you don't really have to worry about this, but you might put your name and that you're the, you know, impact investment co-lead or something like that if that were relevant. So you'd do all of this in a nice, efficient fashion, and then you would press OK. But I didn't make any changes, so I'm just going to press cancel. So I'm trying to think if there is anything else that I want to share. Oh, one last thing. Okay, so when I pressed cancel or OK, depending on if you're going to keep going, you should come back to this page, which you can get to if you've gotten away from me by just clicking my profile. You might want to, you know, upload a picture. So I think there's a slightly different message here if you have not updated a picture, and there's kind of a like a symbol here, I think, and it says update my picture. And you would click here and it'll give you, you know, there's a quick window with upload a picture option. And then you would just upload your picture and press OK. And then your picture would show up here. And we'd really recommend that everyone do that. I think when there's a picture, it just makes it feel much more like a community for newcomers or for, yeah, I think newcomers in general, and for everyone to just use it and put faces with names. There are a number of us, it can be hard to remember everyone's faces with everyone's names. So I think that this pretty much concludes what I wanted to share. Maybe I'll kind of come back to see if there are any questions from anyone else, or if there are any concerns that anyone might like. Oh, maybe before I open it up for that, I will say kind of one thing that and I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier, is that we're really going to be the impetus for this kind of last webinar and our efforts to get as many people to join us today as possible is really that we're going to start turning a lot of this functionality on and kind of turning off Google Groups and you know, trying to really start focusing everyone on realizing all the benefits of this great tool. So I think it would be great if everyone could kind of take some time to play around a little bit more today and fill out your profiles as soon as possible, so that when we do turn on this functionality with the broader community, that everyone's ready to make that transition. And I'm always available to chat. I think everyone has my email, which is aclark@sv2.org. I'm more than happy to hop on the phone, answer quick questions. We're also going to be adding one section to this nav. So next to my profile, there'll be one other link that I haven't figured out the wording for it yet, but it'll be something like frequently asked questions or more resources, where I'll be uploading this webinar, and I'll also be uploading a lot of different one-pagers for if you want to do certain types of things and you don't have the patience to listen to me talk for another hour, then, you know, they'll be in kind of one-pagers that you can look at really quickly to figure out how to do things if